follow. I fight. When you can't win.
Alright, so I do have a small list of items that I would like to see, areas where I can see improvement being made with the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which has been revealed as Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And there's just a few basic things, a list of 8 items that I feel would definitely improve the overall experience. I usually refrain from making videos like this because it just seems pointless, because most of the items that, end up on a wish list video such as this usually don't make it, into the actual game. I think the only game where I had like a definitive wish list of what I wanted to see in the game, and that was actually incorporated into the game and incorporated in a way that where it was satisfying, was Insomniac's Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man on PS4. So that's about the only one. Hopefully, Star Wars Jedi Survivor will also make that list as well. Going down the list here, and using footage from... I'm playing on PlayStation 5 right now. This is not the PlayStation 5 version of Jedi Fallen Order. This is the PlayStation 4 version of Jedi Fallen Order, but I am recording this on PlayStation 5. So the main thing that I would like to see is stronger, gameplay mechanics as far as the combat system goes. So I want to see more combat mechanics. So the combat mechanics in Jedi Fallen Order, I thought they were good, but there's always room for improvement. So for example, just utilizing some of the combat forms, there's a base 3-strike base attack right there. There's a delay impale animation that you can trigger. And then you can switch directions. So it feels very very responsive. There's also Force Repulse here that you can trigger. There's your strong attack, which is based on how much force you have. You can switch to a double-bladed lightsaber and utilize a four-strike move. And then there's a delayed attack animation that you can trigger, although it's a bit tricky to use. You can also throw your lightsaber. You can briefly do like a quick attack, split apart the lightsaber and use 2. But there's not an actual base form in the first game where you can use 2 lightsabers at once. They just gave you the double-bladed lightsaber. And there's not much difference with the double-bladed from the single in terms of the gameplay itself. So I think a good way to improve that would be to have combat forms in the game. So if you look at the Neo games, right? The Neo games have these classes and what have you. Each weapon represents like a single class. And then you have the different forms on top of that. So, that's plenty of variety with the combat system already. Jedi Fallen Order didn't have that, but that's an improvement that they can make for the sequel. I also want to see extended animations for like your base attack. Doing this 1, 2, 3 move over and over again throughout the entire game, that got very repetitive and old. Once you see the same animation over and over and over and over again, it makes the combat system super repetitive. So, those are 2 things that they can do to the base combat with the lightsaber that they can improve, which is to add combat forms into the game and to extend your base attack animations. So regarding the force powers, I thought they had, a good range of force powers in this game. Again, you have force repulse, which that's the only way you can do that one. You have force push right there. They have force pull on the L2 trigger. And again, you can throw your lightsaber. That's basically another force ability within of itself. They had some moves where you can move faster using the force. But there are some things that they could add, such as a Jedi mind trick. You could use a Jedi mind trick on a stormtrooper, and then that stormtrooper could turn on its allies and, fight on your side. And we've seen this in other games before, primarily, most notably, the Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, those games, where you can turn enemies into allies. They could easily do something like that for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So, that's something that they could implement. Of course, there's Force Lightning, and, I get what people would say about that idea. Well, the character called Kestis, he's a light side user, so he's not a dark side user, and Force Lightning is a dark side ability. But they could implement that into the story as to why he would have access to something like that. A dark side ability that he normally wouldn't have otherwise. Then there's also Force Jump, which could be used for like the platforming. You have the double jump and what have you in the first game, but I think they could incorporate that into the combat system as well. They could even put it in some of the platforming sections. And we saw some of that in the Star Wars movies. We've seen plenty of that in like the prequel trilogy. That duel between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, we saw some of that, the Force jump in there. And then in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, between Anakin and Obi-Wan, we saw some of that as well. They could even take an idea from the Star Wars sequel trilogy. So in the first game, you had access to the Force Freeze ability, which was first seen by Kylo Ren, the character Kylo Ren in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. They could pull another ability from the sequel trilogy with astral projection, which we saw Luke Skywalker do in Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, they could take that idea and run with it. So I definitely want to see some more Force abilities. Another big thing is enemy variety. Alright, so when it comes to enemy variety, I mean, there was plenty of enemy variety in the first game, but, you did encounter certain enemies too frequently. And then certain enemy types just weren't fun to fight, like these flame troopers right here. They could definitely improve the enemy variety. I want to see some more Empire units. I want to see some more bounty hunters. If they could have like some scoundrel characters or whatever that you ally with, that would be nice. Like a Han Solo type of character, that would work. I would say Wookiees, but they had Wookiees in the first game and they weren't really that impressive. So another thing they could improve is more planets. So, Star Wars is a big universe. They could pull a lot from the other planets. But I want to see planets that weren't really in the movies, that haven't been in any of the shows or anything, not in Star Wars Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels or The Mandalorian or, anything that we've already seen. I want to see, new material. It looks like they're going to have a desert planet in there, so it could be Tatooine or Jakku or, like Mos Eisley or Mos Espa. But and that's quintessential Star Wars, is like to have a desert planet in there. They could definitely stretch the list, I feel, and get more creative with their choice of planets. I also feel that they could improve the overall level design if they have a marker system, which is something that wasn't a thing in the first game. I think navigation was a huge problem because there was a map. They gave you like a map or whatever, what have you, but there's no marker system, so you really have to pay attention, like close attention, if you're trying to get to a specific area in the game, and certain areas are closed off with the exception of like one entrance. So if I wanted to go to one of the lower like to the lower level of a particular planet, you know, I'd have to find the way down myself. And that would just decrease the amount of time that players are, you know, procrastinating in the game instead of actually, you know, enjoying what they're experiencing. The game could definitely benefit if it has a marker system. Another thing is stronger customization. The customization system in this game was weak, for a lack of a better term. The ponchos, I did not give a shit about. Clearly, you know, it was just a half-assed decision to include all these different colored ponchos. And then the outfit itself was also the same. They didn't give you like an actual change in clothing, which is actually very different from, you know, an older Star Wars game that was also an action adventure title with the Force Unleashed series. So those games would be a good indicator of how to incorporate customization instead of, you know, what they did with Jedi Fallen Order. And that's coming from someone who despises Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Another thing is this run animation. I've never liked this run animation that they gave Cal Kestis. It looks weird. It looks like there's something mentally wrong with him. I don't know why they made him run like that. It seems like something that's not really worth complaining about. But in all honesty, it looks silly. It looks extremely silly. And it looks like he's tripping over his own shoes every time he runs, every time he sprints. So they definitely need to fix up that run animation. That shit does not look like it was handled by a professional development team who knows what they're doing. The last thing would be vehicle and or starship segments. If they put in like some, you know, starship gameplay, or, you know, incorporate one of the Star Wars vehicles like a speeder or something like that, something of that nature, that would just create for a more rounded experience. So it's not just on foot lightsaber combat 24/7 throughout the game. You know, you want to break up that gameplay pace a little bit and, you know, provide players with something new and unique and fresh, and that's certainly one of the ways that they can do that. So those are the 8 items that I feel could improve the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to show when they eventually show gameplay, which hopefully will be sometime early next month, as we're getting into the not so E3 Summer Games Fest. And I definitely wish this game the best of luck. I enjoyed the hell out of the first one, despite its flaws, and hopefully they'll make improvements where necessary.